My mother was wrong. She said, "Sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt you." Sorry, Mom. Words have hurt, as have labels, sexist and off-color jokes, stereotyping, and hurtful sarcasm. I doubt there's a woman here who hasn't been affected by words. Sometime in the middle 1980s, during a faculty happy hour on a Friday, one of my colleagues called me a chick in response to some discussion about women's lib and the feminist revolution. I threw my cold drink at him. Chick is such a harmless word, yet at the time it represented how women were treated and abused through words. Yes, hurtful words are usually addressed to a person. It seems like names like Fort Bragg should not hold the power to hurt. Those words are impersonal, yet connotation and association can be emotionally painful. The populace of Fort Bragg is learning the truth about its meaning. The word chick no longer has any emotional triggers for me. After all, women's lib movement is successful, right? Now that I understand how Fort Bragg got its name, it bothers me that I live in a place where beauty abounds and it is named for a person who became a Confederate and a military outpost where many suffered and died. During last month's teach-in, Buffy Wright-Barassa told us that names are sacred and that every place named has a meaning for its place in the story. I heard that. I am even more strengthened in my resolve to continue this journey, to help educate all in the community, and to eventually a name change. Perhaps the name Fort Bragg was familiar in what the residents were used to hearing. Perhaps the name was thought out carefully. I suspect when the mill town was incorporated in 1889, it easily adopted the name of the military post that had been abandoned due to scandal and corruption 22 years before. I support Change Our Name, Fort Bragg, for many reasons, the least of those being to change the name. There seems to be a rush to name. When I speak with friends about the movement, I am asked, what will the name be? What name do I like? When do we vote on a new name? Personally, I don't think I'm qualified to be a namer. Hopefully the indigenous peoples will find a name sacred to this place and its place in the story. My purpose here tonight is to tell you why I support the Change Our Name. I doubt my reasons to support are like yours or anyone else's. Honestly, I think everyone has to come to support the movement in their own way. I think the word change can be frightening to many, and some shut down when they have to think about any alteration of their lives. Some folks are frightened of the word forever. Those of us who are consciously thinking about the issue are questioned whether we are emotionally connected, or more important, do we understand the emotion the name change triggers? It will not be an easy journey for the voters to come to the place where the name reflects this beautiful city and the land where it sits. Truth be told, the name Fort Bragg has been an irritant to me ever since I moved here in 1990. When my husband and I moved here, we thought, and our visitors thought, that it was a strange name. We made fun of it. We had all kinds of names for the Bragg. We learned the basics, named for one-time military outpost established to protect whites from the natives. Later, when people all over the country began removing offensive statues and monuments because of their connotation, I thought it could happen here. I feel the time is right. When I understood that the true history of the name Fort Bragg had been hidden and in some cases suppressed, my interest became more of a pursuit to know why, how, and what next. I'm appreciative of the founders, board members, historians, and supporters of this organization because I'm learning the truth from a multiple of voices. When Christy Olson Day, for example, told us about the Citizens Committee established by the Fort Bragg Council, I learned a truth. The committee did not say no name change. They recommended the movement be citizen-directed and not done through the City Council. I believe this is what we are doing, thanks to the founders of Change Our Name. Most of my years as an educator involved working with those with disability. Obviously, names and labels are an integral part of the educational system. We use the terms learning skills or strategies for success, yet we know the individual student feels the pain of the name attached to him or her learning difference. Working with adult learners at the College of the Redwoods felt like a reward. One of the perks was I got to tell my students, no, you're not stupid, slow, retarded, or crazy. Here is how I think your brain works, and this is how I hope we can help you learn how you're wired. Hopefully some of those hurtful labels were abandoned. The best years of my career as an educator were here in this community at College of the Redwoods. I felt as if my students learned from me and I grew from their influence. I made strong friendships, and I retired from teaching with a very nice party. When our community college changed leadership, its name changed too. I still remember those 12 years at CR with pride, even though the name is now Mendocino College. I'm a white, educated, progressive voter, and yes, the effort appeals to me. I choose to be identified as aware, as I am willing to hear and learn and grow from new and factual information. I'm also aware that I have not personally experienced the horror or the struggles the name Fort Bragg may evoke in the cultures associated with this name. Whenever we are in discussion about this topic or other controversial issues, always encouraged to find common ground. That is, find a political, social, religious, or moral place where you and your neighbor or relative agree. Sometimes very difficult to do. I hope our common interests, including trail access, police, fire, and disaster protection, and smart uses of resources, are going to be a place for us to have common ground. In spite of all of this, to preserve these important services, we may find it difficult to find common ground when it comes to a name change. These days, we, both conservative and liberal thinkers, find ourselves being identified with the media's insistence that we're divided. If so, how can we find a way to agree? Most people I know, including my neighbors and friends, are participants in common good. We are helpers, we are givers, some of you are volunteers, some of you mow your neighbor's lawn, some of you stand up and protest and help whenever a stranger is harassed or abused. We have a basic need as humans to watch out for each other. Many of us are contributors to one or more of our nonprofits so that all are cared for. Robert Reich says actions of common good are inclusive of all, no exceptions. When our society is committed to the common good, that is trusting that we have common values, the more willing we are to accept disruptions that inevitably accompany our new ideas. Reich, author and blogger, among other actions, says, truth itself is a common good. Change Our Name is determined to identify the truth. I believe that this agreement that we live in an ideal city can lead us to action for the common good. One of the ways I believe I contribute to the common good is to stand witness every first Friday on the corner of Laurel, Maine, right out that door. Women in Black for Peace is part of a network of men, women, and children, sometimes committed to peace with justice, and opposed to injustice, war, militarism, and other forms of violence. It is our agreement that we as humans are called to stand witness to suffering. We bear witness. We show that something exists or is true. War, violence, and injustice exist, and standing there for an hour, we add, hopefully, to the common good, the truth that we remind passerbys that we care for each other. When the label of Fort Bragg is no longer the name of the town, My vision is that every resident knows this history, that they will bear witness. I envision that every visitor knows that when the new name is said along with, formerly known as Fort Bragg, they will be happy to vacation here and eager to explore in the variety of information resources and displays we and those whose land we have taken will make available. Our courage will be celebrated. Our willingness to reveal the truth will be recognized. Among the facts will be the true story of the First Peoples. There will be a number of buildings and memorial statues approved and designed by the tribal councils. Among the buildings dedicated to the history will be a place of mourning. Among the buildings will be an array of photos, maps, and videos that identify the resources, life skills, life work, and contentment of those who lived here first. Residents and visitors will know the truth about the military outpost and what happened on that reservation. I want everyone to know the truth of who was Braxton Bragg and how the military outpost was established with the name of the person who is now long forgotten, how the words fort and brag may hurt more than sticks and stones. Thank you.